Nice to have you with us. So we're not going to be using any props today, but you might want a block or a chair if we're going to try to squat today, and some of us our knees don't let us squat. So at that point, you might want a block or a chair to help with that if and when we get to that point. So let's get going here. We're going to start your option, sitting down or lying down. And so either sit on something that's comfortable for you or lie down on your back. And as you settle in to either of these positions, take some time to arrive where you are. So whatever is going on in your life, in the world, we're going to set everything aside right now and spend this time really inhabiting the present moment and trying to experience the fullness of what we have. Because what we have is right now. You know, the past is over, the future's not here yet. We have this moment right now to embrace, to experience. So take this time and just feel what it feels like to be where you are right now. Let's take some time to connect with the feeling of our physical bodies. And a good way to begin that is to feel our relationship to the ground, to ground ourselves. So whatever parts of your body are touching the ground, feel that connection. Feel that solid stability of the ground within you, that solidness, that steadiness. The ground is unmoving, right? Things can happen, the winds can blow, but the ground is steady, reliable. And just connect with that steadiness that's within you. And then take a little time to just scan your whole body and connect with how you're feeling physically this morning. What's going on for you in your physical reality this morning? And a lot of times that's connected with how you're feeling mentally, emotionally. So check in with that as well. And then with an awareness of how we're feeling, let's just take a little time to connect with our breathing. So we're going to set aside our thoughts and we're just going to focus on our breathing. So just notice the feeling of your inhale and experience the feeling of your exhale. And begin to deepen and lengthen both of those. Let that in-breath be a little fuller, a little more expansive. And allow your exhale, whatever time it takes, to empty all the way out. We're going to do a number of rounds of deep breathing. Nice, full deep breaths in. And each exhale being an emptying out. Just immerse yourself in this experience of breathing. Feel it, hear it, sense it. Take your time, no rush. Take just a few more really full, deep breaths in. Feel it expanding in all directions. And those full releases of breath, emptying out. And after your next full release of breath, begin to transition to a more natural breath rhythm. And then do another little check-in. See if you're feeling the same as you were before, or if maybe things have shifted a bit. Take a moment here now to see if there's something you're needing or something you'd like to focus on or cultivate as we practice this morning. Something you might want to breathe into your practice. I always say the default is love and compassion. But perhaps there's something else you'd like to work on or focus on. Something positive that supports you. Breathe it in. And then when you feel ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. If you're sitting up, we're going to all make our way to lying down. Go ahead and lie down on your back. And let's start with, we'll just hug our knees in and kind of sway a little bit. And then let's lift our legs up into the air. Kind of stretch out the back of your legs by flexing and pointing your feet a few times, pushing your heels up, and then circling at the ankles in one direction, and then in the other. And then go ahead and bend your knees and release your feet to the floor. Let's lift our heads up now, and we're going to clasp our hands beneath our heads and let the weight of the head rest into the hands, elbows wide. We'll take a breath in. As you exhale, start to knit your low ribs down into your belly and start to curl up head, neck, and shoulders. Try to get your shoulder blades off the floor and kind of look beyond your knees. And then inhale and release back. Again, exhale, knit your ribs and curl up, and then bring your feet off the floor. Bring your knees in towards you. And then as you inhale your head back, extend your legs out on an angle. So it could be a high angle, it could be a lower angle, you choose. And then we're going to curl up and bring the knees in, and then we're going to release our feet down as we take the head back. So we're curling up and bringing the knees in. We're extending the legs out as our heads go back. We're curling up and bringing our knees in, and we're releasing the feet down as we inhale back. Again, curl up, bring your knees in, extend your legs out as you inhale back, curl up and bring your knees in, and then lower your feet down as you inhale back. Let's do a few more of these. Curling up, and then extending and breathing, and then curling up and then lowering down. Again, curl up, knees come in, extend your legs, inhale back, curl up, knees come in, lower your feet down. This time, as you curl up and bring your knees in, twist across, elbow towards your knee. And then inhale back, extend your legs. And then as you bring your knees in, twist across the other way, and then lower your feet down and breathe. Curl up and twist across, extend your legs as you inhale back. Curl up and twist across the other way, and lower your feet as you inhale back. Couple more, curl up and twist across. Inhale and extend your legs out. Curl up and twist the other way. Lower your feet as you inhale back. And last time, curl up and twist across. Extend your legs as you inhale back. Curl up and twist the other way. And then lower your feet down. Inhale back. Let's take the arms out to our side. We're going to have bent knees. And we're just going to let the knees drop over to one side. Just see how far you can go, keeping your opposite shoulder on the floor. Take a breath and then bring your knees back to center. Let your knees drop over to the other side. Take a breath here. Exhale and bring the knees back. Just do that a few more times. Just waking up the obliques a bit more here. Use your exhale to bring the knees back and over to the other side. Take a breath and then exhale your legs back. Let's take the legs up into the air and we're just going to see if we can reverse curl. So we're just going to curl the hips up and then lower out. And we're going to curl the hips up and lower out. So we're just lifting with the strength of the low belly. We're trying not to press down with our arms. We're just activating those deep lower abdominals to curl and lift and lower down. A few more here. And lower down. And last two. This time, curl, lift. Could you lift a little higher? And then release. All right. Feet come to the floor. Roll to your side now. So you're lying on your side, facing your device. We're going to bend our knees forward. And so we have our knees bent forward. And we're going to take our feet and we're going to lift them off the floor, right? And so we're going to do clamshell a little differently. Normally we do this with our feet down, but we're going to have our feet lifted. And then we're going to lift the top knee up and bring the knee down. So that's that clamshell movement. The knee lifts and lowers. And this just targets the muscles of the hip here, those hip stabilizers. So we're going to try lifting the knee and then extending the leg out. Bring the foot back and lower down. Lift the knee, extend the leg out, bring it back and lower it down. Lift, extend, feet come together, knee lowers down. Lift, extend, feet come together, lower down. Yeah, keep going here. And we're waking up the muscles of the hip. These hip muscles, as we get older, become more and more important because they help us to stabilize, they support the strength of the knees, they help to keep us mobile. So let's do two more. And lower and lift and extend. And then go ahead and let the knee come down, let your feet come down, and let's just do that on the other side. So swing your legs around to the other side and just lie down. Stack your knees in front of you and then lift your feet off the floor. And then take that top knee and lift it up. So your feet stay together and you just open and close that clamshell here. So you lift and you lower. And what we find when we work the hips a lot of times, let's this time extend the leg out, is that we kind of fatigue the hip of the leg that we're not targeting because it's stabilizing us. So the second side is sometimes a little more work because the first hip has already been worked and now it's working to stabilize us. So there's that. So let's keep going here. We're bringing our feet together, lowering the knee, lifting the knee, extending the leg. Yeah, we're going to do a few more of these. Lower the knee, lift the knee, extend the leg. Let's do 2 more. Hopefully you're feeling some work in the muscles of your hip. Great. All right. Knee comes down, feet can come down. Let's come on to all fours. And as you find yourself here on all fours, knees beneath hips, wrists beneath shoulders, take a moment and just feel your spine nice and long. Take a breath in. As you exhale, start to drop your tailbone down and round through your spine, letting your head drop down. And then come to your flat back. And as you inhale, start to lift your tail and arch and extend through your spine, looking forward. And then back to flat back as you exhale, round. As you inhale, start to lengthen and arch and extend. And then this time as you start to move into that rounded cat position, how would it feel to take your hips back and lower onto your heels, and then lower onto your forearms and start to scoop your heart forward as you start to arch or extend your spine, lifting up into your cow pose, and then moving to flat back, starting to round and taking the hips back. If this feels good, go ahead and do this. If you want to just keep doing regular cat cow, you can. We're scooping the heart forward and extending. Maybe one more time like this, rounding and sitting back, lowering down to forearms, scooping forward and coming up. And then just returning to your neutral spine. From here, take one knee a few inches back, maybe 6 or 7 inches back. Take the other knee 6 or 7 inches back. And then take your hips back over your knees. So now your arms are out in front of you a bit. And from here, can you lower onto your forearms? And as your forearms come down, can you have your wrists and your elbows and your shoulders aligned? For some of us, it's going to be hard for those elbows to be aligned. They're going to they want to be wider. And so just do the best you can to bring them in line and then straighten your arms. So the movement is in the arms. The hips aren't going front and back. We're just lowering the arms down and we're straightening the arms. So, and if this is difficult for your shoulders, then, do what you need to do so you can make it work. This works those rotators in the back of the shoulder. So if you've had some injury, this is going to help to strengthen there. But it might, you might not be able to get those elbows right in line with the wrists and shoulders, but work in that direction. So we're lowering down and we're straightening the arms. Maybe 2 more here. Lowering down and straightening. This time we're going to lower down and then we're just going to walk back and sit back into child's pose. So you might want to take your arms to your sides. That sometimes feels like a nice counterbalance for the back of the shoulders. Or you might like your arms supporting your head. As you sit back here, take a few breaths. Notice how you're feeling. Maybe breathe in that thing that you're cultivating this morning, connecting with. Let your breath empty all the way out. And then when you're ready, lift your head up, reach your arms way out in front. We're going to make our way to downward facing dog now. So make your way up to your first downward facing dog. Really feel your hands pressing into the floor now. Spread out the weight there. Take and create some space between your shoulder blades. Draw your hips back and then pedal your heels down. One knee bends, the other heel presses down. The other knee bends, the other heel presses down. So stretching out into the lower leg here. You might be shaking your head a little bit side to side, freeing up your neck. We're breathing deeply as we're here. And then let's go ahead and bend both knees a little or a lot and draw the hips way up and back. Lengthen your spine. Take a deep breath in and out. Sigh it out, release the breath. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Lower your heels down. End up folded over bent knees. Take a breath into your upper back. Let the breath empty out. And then draw your belly in and roll yourself up. Taking some time here to unfurl your spine, to stack one vertebra on top of the one beneath it. Eventually bringing your head up. And then really think about your connection to the ground. Root down. Take your arms out. Inhale and reach them up. And then exhale your arms all the way down at your side. Great. All right, let's turn and face our device. And I want you to just take a moment to ground yourself. So don't think about the weird looking bug that's on the floor over there, and really focus in on our present moment experience on our mats. So feel your toes, feel your feet, feel your heels, send your roots down. And as you ground down, feel yourself standing nice and tall. Think about the position of your head. A lot of us, our heads kind of are a little bit forward. Can you tuck your chin and lengthen the back of your neck, bringing your ears right over your shoulders? Great. I want you to take a breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to take your arms out and up. A little different than we normally do. Inhale and let your arms lower down. Again, exhale, reach your arms overhead. Inhale, let your arms come down. As your arms come down, lift your heels up. So exhale, lower your heels and reach your arms overhead. Inhale, lower your arms and lift your heels. Exhale, lower down, lift your arms. Inhale, lift your heels. Now we're gonna do arm circles. Exhale, sweep your arms up and around. Inhale, lift your heels. Exhale, circle your arms around. Inhale, lift your heels. Circle your arms the other way. Exhale, circle. Inhale, lift. Exhale, circle. Inhale, lift. All right, great. Lower your heels. Let's just separate our feet a little bit. We're going to take the arms all the way up and overhead. Clasp your hands, interlace your fingers, reach up, and then just stretch over to one side. So I want you to really breathe into this side that you're stretching away from. Create some space between your ribs. Reach, reach, reach. And then come back to center. Inhale and stretch up and over to the other side. Breathe into that side rib. And then come back to center. Let's inhale and get nice and tall. Reach up. And exhale and release down. Nice work. All right, we're going to come to the front of our mats. We're going to ground down to stand tall. Let's take the arms and reach them out and up. And we'll breathe in, kind of the normal breathing here. Exhale and fold forward. We'll bring our hands to shins and inhale and find length out through the crown of the head. Exhale and fold forward. Let's bring our hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Pressing down with the hands as we take the hips up and back, breathing in. We'll exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Press down. Press back through your heels. Feel length from your heels all the way out through the crown of your head. Take a breath here. If you want to drop onto knees, that's fine. We're going to try a little bend in the elbows pointing back. Trying not to let the hips sink as we do that here. We'll take another breath. And then let's straighten the arms and use the belly to pull the hips up and back. Take a breath here. Again, exhale to straight arm plank. Maybe on your knees, maybe a little bend in the elbows. One more time, straighten your arms and pull up and back. Breathe in. Exhale, straight arm plank or a little bend in the elbows. Take one more breath. And then we're going to lower down onto belly. Tops of the feet, heels of the hands by the low ribs, chest close to the floor. Let's get nice and long and then inhale up to baby cobra. The heels of your hands can be pressing back as your heart pulls forward here. You're finding length. And then we'll lower back down. Let's do that again. Inhale up to baby cobra. We're going to lift our hands a little bit. And then can you lift your elbows up and squeeze, hug them in? And then release your hands, release your chest. This time we're going to keep our hands down and come up to baby cobra. We could stay here or continue to come up a bit more into cobra. Finding length here and then lowering back down. Let's push up to knees, curl the toes under and lift the knees, lift up and back to down dog. Breathe in and out here. And then walk our feet up towards our hands, plant our feet beneath us. And let's sweep our arms out and inhale and rise up, reach up. And we'll exhale, arms down. So we're going to do that alternate breathing now. We're going to take a breath in first, and then exhale and take the arms overhead. Inhale and swan dive forward. Exhale and extend the spine forward. Inhale and round forward. Exhale, hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale to straight arm plank. Exhale, a little bend in the elbows. Inhale all the way down to belly. Great, let's come up onto forearms now. We'll get elbows right beneath shoulders. And then we're gonna slice down with the forearms to lift the chest. Let's curl the toes under and lift the hips. We could be on our knees here in a kneeling forearm plank, or you could lift your knees and be in a full forearm plank. As you're here, you can just stay here, pushing down into your forearms, trying to find that support for your pelvis by really firing up the abdominals here. If you like, you could do a little tick-tock, just kind of tipping your hips to one side, tipping your hips to the other side. There are a lot of ways to make this harder, but it's plenty hard, whether you're on your knees or your knees are off the floor. You could tap a toe to the side, you could point a toe back, or you could just be here. You could alternate one knee down and then the other knee down, or drop to your knees and then come back with your knees up. Let's hold here for a count of 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It's just nice to know how long you got. And then lower down. Nice work. All right. Take your elbows wide. Rest your head on your hands. And let everything relax here. Connect with your breath. Let your neck and shoulders relax. Let your jaw relax. Sometimes I move my hips a little side to side to release tension in the low back. Take one more breath. And then let's begin to press our hips down into the floor and then lift the legs up. Toes can be pointed here. We're reaching back. Could you press down to lift up a bit higher for another breath? And then relax your legs down. Let's bring our arms to our side, palms up. Again, we'll press the hips down to lift the legs up. And then reaching back through the fingertips, let's inhale and lift the chest up. Finding locust pose here. As much length as we can find from toes to sternum. And then could we press down to lift the legs a bit more? Could we pull the heart forward to lift the chest a bit more? As we reach back through the fingertips, let's take one more breath. And exhale down. Nice work. Bring hands next to chest. Let's push back to knees, take the hips back, and sit all the way back into child's pose. Find your breath and release your breath. I think this is one of the many beneficial aspects of our yoga practice is this time for exhaling throughout the practice. Because in exhaling, we're letting go of things that, get stuck in our bodies, tension, anger, frustration. Exhaling is so soothing and relaxing and releasing. And it's more effective when the diaphragm is stretched in poses like this where the back is rounded or in twists. So let the breath empty out. One more time. And then lift your head up. And again, make your way to downward facing dog. Great. All right. So let's take one leg up in the air as we breathe in. And then bend the knee and draw that knee up and in towards your chin or towards the front elbow. And then let's lift it up again. Breathe. And then bend that knee, lift it up, bring it in. One more time. Take that leg up and back, and then bend the knee. And if you can, look forward and step that foot through to lunge. If you need to drop to your knees and then step the foot out, that's fine too. Make your way to your low lunge. And then you might bring your hand to your front knee. Make your way to coming upright. Bring your hands to your hips and square your hips to the front of your mat, turning that back heel so it's pointing straight back. And then let's really plant the front foot as we bend into the knee. And then push the foot down to straighten the front leg. So bend the front knee forward and then push down to straighten. Again, bend the front knee forward and push down to straighten. And again, bend and straighten. All right, this time we're going to bend the front knee, and I want you to also bend the back knee. So we're bending both knees and then coming up. So rather than a forward and back, this is more of a down and up position. Push down to straighten. Bend both knees and come up, and bend both knees and come up. All right, we're going to bend the front knee now, and you can bring your hands to heart. We're going to lean forward. So we have some options here. We're going to try and balance on the front leg. So you might want to have a chair or something to hold on to, or you might just want to be here. You could be going from here to here. If you want to try the balance, bring the weight into the front foot, and then try straightening the front leg and lifting the back leg. Holding your balancing warrior here. We're just going to hold briefly and take a breath. And then I want you to start to hinge up. Bring that leg down and let that foot touch the floor. But then we're going to hinge forward again and swing the leg back. So again, you might want to move to where you have a chair that you could hold on to, or you could use a couple blocks here. And then we're going to come back up. So try that again. Hinge forward, swing the leg back, and then hinge up and bring the foot down. And maybe one more time. Hinge forward, and then come up to stand. Great. All right, so standing at the front of your mat, root down, inhale, reach up. Exhale, swan dive. Bring your hands to the floor, make your way back to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. We're going to take our left leg up in the air, breathing in. And then let's bend that knee, bring it in towards your chin or up towards that front elbow. And then inhale that leg up and back. Again, we're going to bend the knee, bring it up and in. And inhale that leg up and back. This time, bring that knee forward, look forward, step through to lunge, or you can drop onto the back knee and then step forward, coming into your low lunge. And then when you're ready, push into the front foot. Inhale and come up. Straighten your front leg. Hands come to hips. Again, can you square your hips to that short line of your mat so that back heel is pointing straight back? And then bend your front knee forward. Push that foot down to straighten the front leg. Bend that front knee forward. Push down to straighten. Couple more. Bend and straighten. And bend and straighten. Great. This time the front knee is going to bend. I want you to also bend your back knee toward the floor and then push up. Bending both knees and pushing up. Couple more like this. Bending both knees and pushing up. Last one like this. Great. Now we're going to bend the front knee forward, bring hands to heart, lean forward. And you could just be here going, straightening and leaning. Or could we put the weight on the front foot, straighten the front leg, and lift the back leg up, hinging forward, trying to hold this balance for a breath. And then start to hinge up and bring the leg down. The foot can touch. And then let's go again. Hinge forward and swing the leg back. And try and balance. And then hinge forward and come up. 2 more times. Hinge forward, swing that leg back. Again, we're working on the muscles of the hip here to stabilize us. And come back up. 1 more time. Hinge forward, swing that leg back. And then coming up to stand. Nice work. All right, let's come into a wide stance. Feet nice and wide. We'll turn this back foot in, turn this back foot and hip in, and turn this front foot out. Hands can go to hips, and we'll bend and straighten the front knee a few times. Trying to get that outer edge of that back foot solidly connected as this front knee bends. Great. Now we're going to bend the front knee and keep it bent. I want you to just lift the front heel a little bit off the floor and feel as though you're pulling that heel back towards the midline. Just kind of work into the underline of the leg and into the pelvic floor a little bit here. Take a breath and then lower that heel down. From right down in your belly, tip your hips over now and bring your forearm on that front thigh. Take your other arm forward and then sweep it overhead. Thumb up, pinky down. We're going to kind of roll the arm down, and then we're going to roll the belly and chest under that arm, and then reach that arm nice and long. We'll take a breath here, and then sweep that arm down in front as you exhale. As you inhale, reach back and rise up to proud warrior. As you exhale, we're going to tip over again and do the same thing. Sweep the arm overhead. Roll the belly and chest forward. Breathe in. Exhale, sweep the arm down. Inhale, rise back up. Again, we're going to exhale and tip over. Sweep the arm overhead. We're going to stay here this time. Roll the belly and chest towards your device. Reach long with that arm. And then take this bottom arm, if you can, and bring it overhead as well. Breathe in and out here. And then keep your legs as they are, but just straighten your torso up. Take a breath here, reaching up. And then let your arms relax down. Great. Straighten your front leg. Turn your feet forward. We'll do that all on the other side. So turn this back foot in, this back foot and hip. Front foot turns out. We're going to bend and straighten the front knee now. Back outer foot stays planted as the front knee bends. And then this time as the knee bends, keep it there. Can you lift that front heel up just a bit? And imagine you're pulling that heel back. That action of pulling the heel back lights up the muscles in the underside of the leg into the pelvic floor. Take a breath and then let that heel come back down. Now let's go ahead and tip over to side angle. So forearm on the front thigh, other arm comes forward and sweeps overhead. Thumb is up, pinky is down, and then we'll roll the belly and chest towards the device. Reach long with that top arm as you breathe in, and then sweep that arm down as you breathe out. And then reach behind and inhale and rise up to proud warrior. And then exhale back. We're going to tip over, sweep that arm overhead. Inhale as you reach and roll. Again, exhale, sweep it down. Inhale, rise up. One more time. Exhale, tip over, sweep that arm overhead. Stay here this time. Roll that belly and chest forward And if you can, lift that bottom arm. You could keep it there if that's better for you, or reach here, breathe in and out, and then keep your knees bent, but straighten up. Reach up here, breathe, great, and then relax your arms. Straighten your front leg. All right, turn your feet forward. So a little differently here, we're going to turn this foot out, and I want you to hinge from the hip as you bend this knee. So we're not bending at the waist, we're hinging. And then can you just touch that inner ankle? And then straighten the leg and reach out. So you're bending the knee, hinging, touching, and reaching out. Hips go back, touch, and open, and touch, and open. Let's try that on the other side. So this foot can turn in, and this foot can turn out. You're gonna take your hips back, bend the knee forward, and then can you touch that ankle, and then reach out, and then touch, and then reach, and then touch, and reach. One more time. Great. All right, so we warmed up the inner thighs a little bit. We're gonna see how it would feel to drop into a squat. And I know that not everyone's knees or hips allow them to squat. So if you're a person that finds squatting really difficult, you have an option. You could just go sit in a chair with your knees really wide and hinge forward. If you need a little support in a squat, you could place a block and sit on a block. Or maybe you can just come into a squat. So I find this harder than I used to. My knees are not as loving it as I used to, but some people's knees are fine. My husband could do this all day long. So everybody's bodies are different. So what we want to do is just get the knees wide apart, kind of open the hips. You can, if you're in the squat, your arms could be pushing your knees out. Think about the spine. If you're hinged over your chair or you're sitting on your block, your spine is upright. If it's too much, you could also sit in bound angle on your bum with your feet together. If you want to try an arm balance, you could bring your hands to the floor and start to hug your inner thighs into your upper arms. And you might just shift your weight forward a little bit. You might try lifting a toe or two off the floor. It just might be fun for a little practice. So otherwise, we're going to eventually transition to sitting down. And maybe shake your legs out a little bit. Nice. All right, so we're going to play around with some variations of boat pose. So we're gonna all sit on the floor. And one way to start is to just be here, hugging your shins and sitting upright. And then you could try, actually from here, you could just try holding your knees and lifting your feet a little bit off the floor. The next layer that you could try would be grabbing the back of the knees and trying and bringing your shins parallel to the floor. You might just hold here. Another option is to try to be here, not holding the legs. You might just hold here. Another option is to try to straighten your legs, and you might just hold here. So we're just gonna find a position that works for us and take a breath. And then you might try another position and take a breath. You might transition to another one of those options and take a breath. And then let's all bring our feet to the floor. And we're just going to bring our feet together and let our knees drop open. So as we're here in bound angle, some of us are going to find it more comfortable to keep our hands behind to keep us rooted and sitting up tall. Some of us might find it more comfortable to hold the ankles. Either one is fine. As much as you can, try not to be rolled back. It might be helpful to sit up on a blanket to get that nice neutral spine. And just sitting up straight might be plenty for some of us. Some people might be able to hinge forward here. We're not going to bend at the waist. We would just move from the hip. Let's try pressing our feet in and pressing our knees out. So it's a little more active as we root down and rise up. And take one more breath. And let it go. Great. All right, bring your knees in and straighten the legs out, shake them out a little bit. Let's make our way to lying down. Lying down on our mats. And let's have our feet in close. So we're going to set up for bridge pose. So heels close to the bum, heels kind of under your knees, arms at your side. And in bridge pose, we don't want to turn our head to the side to look at our device. So just look up at the ceiling. We're going to plant our feet, and then we're going to start to roll our hips up into the air. Just go ahead and slowly, gradually, incrementally lift your hips up and up and up until you bring the weight up onto your shoulders. And once you're here, would it feel good to press the feet down, press the knees and shins more forward to lift up a little higher? You might explore that. Go ahead and take a breath at the top. And then as you exhale, just release your spine slowly, gradually, and incrementally. Take your time to release vertebra by vertebra, feeling those vertebrae, releasing one at a time, like a little gentle massage. Maybe you notice an area where a bunch of vertebrae come down together. We're going to do this again, so maybe next time you can try and mobilize that area a bit more as you roll down. So everyone has their own pace for rolling down onto their bridge. You choose your own pace, but once you've made your way down, let everything relax for a moment. Maybe breathe in and out before you do that again. So another bridge, pressing down to lift up. Maybe you're going faster, maybe you're going slower than I am. It's all good. You might want to do 2 slow ones. You might want to do a few more. But just to make sure that once you're at the top, that you're up as high as you want to go. And then see if you can feel that articulation as you come out of your bridge pose. Feel those vertebrae releasing incrementally. Just trying to cultivate a little spinal mobility here by this slow, gradual unfurling of the spine into the floor. Some of us, our low backs are kind of stiff and tight, and we might need to slow that process down as we release our low backs. Some of us, it's our mid back. We're all so different. But once you've made your way out, just let everything relax for a moment and take a breath. Yeah. Let's take our feet off the floor and hug knees into chest. We're going to finish up with a different type of clamshell. This is a clamshell twist. We're going to roll all the way on one side toward our device, letting the knees stack on top of each other, taking our bottom arm out on the floor in front of us, taking our top hand and placing it palm to palm. And then let's try to bring our knees up close to our elbows. We'll take that top arm and reach it up and reach it back behind us, rolling our chest and our gaze up toward the ceiling. Try to keep your knees stacked here. That one arm that's close to your knees could hold on to them if they separate. And then we're going to do some very deep breathing here. So we're going to let that breath flow in and down. And as you exhale, you can blow it out, you can sigh it out, but let the breath empty all the way out. So the in-breath can be breathing in what you're focusing on this morning. And then the out-breath can be an emptying and a letting go of something that is bothering you, frustrating you, stressing you out. Just breathe it out with your exhale. Couple more rounds of breath. Maybe you need to breathe in forgiveness and breathe out what you're forgiving yourself of. So at the bottom of your next exhale, you can take that arm from behind, bring it up, bring it back down on your bottom hand. And then we're going to roll to the other side. So roll all the way on to your other side till your knees are stacked. Then bring your bottom arm out in front of you. Place your top hand palm to palm. Bring your knees up close to your elbows. And then take that top arm, reach it up and back and behind you. Keep your knees stacked if you can. And then the very important part of this twist here is that breath. What do you want to invite in? What do you want to let go of? When we let go of the stuff that's holding us back, that's weighing us down, it's very freeing. It can help us to lighten our load. So let the breath empty one more time. And then you can bring that arm from behind back down. All right, we're going to start to transition to our final relaxation now. So if there's one more move you want to offer yourself, go ahead and do that. And then when you're ready, set yourself up for your final relaxation. You might want something under your head. You might want something under your knees. Make your way to lying down with your legs straight. You might want to cover up with a blanket. What could you do to set yourself up to be as comfortable as possible? Maybe you could transition to your couch or your bed. But we're going to lie back and just allow the body to be as it is. We're done with giving the body instructions. We don't need to be in any particular way. We let go of all control here. And we just drop into being as we are. Allow. Allow the weight of the body to settle into the floor. Allow our muscles to soften, to release, and relax. Gradually, incrementally, layer by layer, relaxing, releasing, letting go, and just letting ourselves be as we are. The body relaxes. Allow the muscles of your face to soften and release as well. jaw, the eyes, the forehead. And just rest here. So I'm going to share a little reading with you. You can continue lying back, or you can transition up if you like as I share this reading. It's just a reminder. It's called Time Enough. The wisdom voice says, be still. Take time for what is truly important. I imagine myself diving, leaving behind an untidy trail of what's not needed. I cast aside worry, which has never brought me anything even remotely useful. I let go of doubt and all the countless ways I tie myself in knots. Scattered behind me like discarded clothes are old beliefs, selfish agendas, my fixed and false identities, attachment to particular results. Weightless and miraculously free, my eyes shine with wonder and enthusiasm. The wisdom voice says, there is always time enough for joy. Yep, time. Let's bring our hands to heart. If you're lying down, you could transition up now, or again, you could keep lying down. But at the end of our practice, I think it's useful to spend some time just connecting with what's important to you. Thanks for being here this morning. I wish you all joy today.